Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to learn how we can create this Kanban board in Laravel. In here, as you guys can see, I have 3 boards, one for to do, one for in progress, and one for the done. I can create a separate task for each of them. For example, in to do I will add a new task as a subscribe. Now let's save them. Now as you guys can see, it's added in the end of the to-dos. I can organize it, put it in the top, put it in the middle, or even shift it to in progress. Now let's wait in here until you guys press the subscribe button. Yeah, please press the subscribe and like button. Now is it done? Okay, good, thank you very much. Now let's shift this to done part. So it's done. Now we can also put our other task in our progress. So let's put it here. Let's shift the 4th task in top and the 3rd task in the up. So everything is set. Now even if I refresh my page, as you guys can see, all of them are in their place, and I can also delete it. So right now, as you guys subscribe, so I don't need this task. I can delete this. And let's for example, this task is changed. I will rename it. So let's say to task number 26 or task number 9. Let's click save. Now it has been changed to task number 9. So let's see how we can build this. And if you guys have any questions, write it down in the comment. So let's open our VS Code, and in here, first of all, we will create our modal, migration, and controller by opening our terminal. And in here, let's type PHP artisan, make modal, and give it a name of Kanban. Then I will also want to create migration and controller, so I will type -mc, enter. Okay, all 3 of them are created. Now let's close this. And let's go to our database migrations, and to our migration and create our database table. So in here I need ID is available. In here, first column that I need is a name. So I will type string name, and it should not be nullable. So I will set the nullable to false. Then after that, another one would be status. So the status I will choose enum, and I will type the column name, and for the values should be, the first value should be to do, then in progress and done. Let's give them a default value also. So let's set the default to do. Now because we also want to order our task, so I will create one more column for the order. So this would be integer, and I will give it the name of order and set the default to 0. Let's type here nullable also to false, and let's close it. Now let's run our migration. So let's type PHP artisan migrate, enter. Okay, migration is done. Now let's go to our routes and create a new route for our Kanban board. So let's go to our route, and in here at the end of my routes I will create a new route, and let's type here route prefix Kanban board. Let's create a group controller also by typing controller. Then inside here I will type Kanban controller : class. Then let's create a group by typing group, and inside here we will type a callback function. Then inside our function I will create a new route with the type of view. Then I will write / as an URL, and I will say to go to Kanban board.index. Now let's go and create our index file inside our Kanban board folder inside our resources. So let's go out, create our resources, view, and in here let's create a new folder with the name of Kanban board, and inside here let's create a new file with the name of index.blade.php. The first thing that I will do inside my index.blade.php in here is to call my layout. So I will type extends layout.app, and in here I have 3 sections. So I will add one section for head. Let's close this section, then another section for my content. So I will again type section content, and the last section that I have in here is for my script. So I will type section script, and let's end this also. Now let's go to our browser and test our page. So let's go to inside our, let's copy this from here and let's go to our browser and test our page. Now as you guys can see, the page has been loaded without any errors. Now let's go back to our VS Code, and inside our content section in here let's create a new div with a class of container. So let's type, then in here I will create an h2 tags with a class of text center. So let's give him a text center class, and in here let's give him a Kanban board. Now after that I will create a new div with a class of row, and also I will give it an ID of Kanban board. Then inside here I will create a div with a class of made4. So this will be my to-dos. For my to-dos, let's create a card header also by typing card header. Let's give this a background color also of bg-primary, and text should be white. Then inside here I will create a new div with a class of row, because I want to divide this card header row with 2 sections, one for the head and one for the button. So then here let's create a made6. Then in here let's type our to do. Then let's below this let's type another div with a class of made6, and in here let's create a button with the ID of add-task to do. Let's give him a class also by typing btn-info, and let's give him a plus sign. Let's give him a style also, our date. So in here let's type style and change the text alignment to right. So let's type right. Now let's save this. Let's go back to our browser and let's refresh in here. Okay, as you guys can see, it has been created, but I think we forgot something because it's not looking what the way that we expected. So let's go back here. So let's see. Good. We forgot to add a div with a class of card. So let's add here a new div with a class of card, and let's move this from here up to here inside our card. Now let's go back and let's refresh. Now as you guys can see, it looks better. So now let's go back to our VS Code in here, and in here up to now that we created our card and also we created our card header. So now let's go and create our card body. So let's below this div, below after our card header, in here we will create our card body. So let's create a new div with a class of card body and give it a ID of to do. Let's go back, let's refresh. Okay, our card body is also here. Now let's go and copy our this div 2 more times, one for in progress and one for done part. So let's copy it from here up to the end, up to here. So let's take it and let's paste it down. This will be in progress, and let's change the ID of card body also to in progress. And one more place here, let's change this to also to in progress. Sorry, in progress. Let's do it one more time for the done section. So let's copy it below here and paste. Now let's change this the text to done. Let's and change this one also to done. Okay, these are done. Now let's go back here. Let's click refresh. Okay, they are available, but let's change the colors also. So let's go for our progress in here. Let's change background primary to warning, and also this one to, for the done I will type success. Now let's go, let's click refresh. Okay, as you guys can see, our cards are ready now. Now let's go and create our add new task function and modal. So whenever the user click the plus button, a modal should pop up and the user should type the task, then save the task, and it should be displayed inside each of the task cards. So let's go and first of all let's create our modal, then our function. So let's go to our VS Code, and after my done card div, so in here, then at the end I will create a new modal. So let's create a new div with a class of modal, and let's give him a fate also class. Then let's give him an ID of task modal. Then let's set the tab index attribute to -1. Then after that let's set the area label by is equal to task modal label, and also area hidden to true. Then inside this modal, let's create a new div with the class of modal dialog. Then inside the modal dialog class div, we will create another div with a class of modal header. Then inside here we will create two items. One would be the title and another one would be the button to close the modal. So let's create our title first, and for that I will create an h5 tag with a class of modal title and ID of task modal label. Then the title would be add task. Now let's create a button. So below this I will create a new button with the type of button and class of btn close. Then after that let's set the data bs dash dismiss to modal and area dash label to close. Let's close our button. And one more thing I forgot in here, that after the modal dialog, in here we have to create a div with a class of modal content. So let's create that. So let's type here modal dash content and move everything inside that. So let's move it in here. Now after our modal header, in here let's create a new div with the class of modal body, and inside here I will create a simple form with the ID of task form. Then inside this I will create a div with a class of margin bottom dash 3 and create a label for task name. Then after that I will type a class form dash label. Then I will give them a title of task name. Then let's create our input with the type of text and class of form control and ID of task name. Let's close this. Now let's go and create our modal footer also after our modal body. So let's below this let's create a new div with a class of modal dash footer, and inside here I will create two buttons. So let's create two buttons, button with a type of button and class of btn dash. For the first one I will go with the secondary class, and for this one, because I will use this button as a shape, so I will say primary. Then for this one I will say database dash dismiss to modal and give them a text of close. Now let's go for the second button and give them an ID of save task. Then let's give them a title of save task. Okay, our model is ready. Now let's go and create a function to display this model. So let's scroll down until we find our script section. Inside here I will create a new script. Then I will create a new function with the name of show task model. Then it will accept a parameter and I will name it section. The first thing that I will do inside this function is to empty the last value of task name. So let's type here task name dot var is equal to empty string. So this is the task name. This input type in here in the top. First of all, when the user type it, open the model, it should be blank for the user. Then after that, I will say to open the or display the model. So I will say task model. Let's copy the ID. Let's copy from here and paste it in here and type model show. Now let's go and call this function whenever the user press the plus buttons. So let's go in here, and for to do in here I will call this, and as a parameter I will send to do. Sorry, let's type on click. Then the function name, let's copy and paste it here. Then as a parameter I will send to do. Now let's copy this also to other plus buttons. One is here and this would be in progress. Let's do it one more time. Let's scroll down and paste it here and change in progress bar to done. Okay, it's done. Let's save this and let's go to our browser. Let's refresh the page. Okay, let's click here. Yeah, as you guys can see, I get my model. Let's click here. Yeah, and let's click here also. Yeah, we can get our model. Now let's go and create our save task function to save the task using AJAX. So let's go to our VS Code and back to our script section, and in here I will create a event listener for my save task. So let's type here save task dot click function, and inside this function let's fix this function. Inside this event listener I will create a variable with the name of task name and set it to $ task name dot val. So let's copy the ID from here and paste it here dot val. So it will get the value of task name input. Then after that I will check if task name is available, if there is any task name. In that case I will create an AJAX with the type of post and set the URL to URL Kanban dashboard / store. We will create this URL later. Then after that, in the second parameter I will send the data. So let's type, first of all let's send the token. So I will type token colon and set it to CSRF token. After the token I will send the name which I will get from the task name, and also we need the status here. So let's type status colon. So up to now we cannot access the status from this here. We can only get the status from the show modal. So let's create a variable in the top with the name of current section and set it to empty for by default. Then in our show task we will assign the current section is equal to section. Now back to our save task event listener. In here, just in status we will send the current status. Now after the status we have to set our success method. So let's type here function and response. Then inside our okay, let's fix this response. Then in here for now I will just type console.log response. Okay, so first of all when the user click any of the plus buttons, it will call the show task and send the parameter which card the plus button has been pressed. So for example in here the user press the done button, then it will set the current section to done. Then when the user click the save button we will get the section name or the card name. For example we have to do in progress and done from the current section. Then we will send our token name and status, all of them, and using AJAX, and at the end we will log in and display it in the console for now. So now let's go to inside our route and create this method. So let's go to our web.php and inside our Kanban board let's create a new route with the type of post and set it to store. Then we will call the store method from the controller. Okay, let's go and create our store method also inside our controller. So let's in here let's create a public function store and it will accept request and $request. Now in here let's create a new variable with the name of item and set it to new Kanban. Then after that, let's set an item name is equal to request name, status item status is equal to request status. And one more thing that we have is order. So let's set the item order equal to, so for the order, first of all, in the top I will create a new variable with the name of last order. So it will be Kanban colon where status. So we have to get all the Kanbans. We have to get the max of all the Kanbans inside that status based on the status. So for example, if it's done, so we have to get the last one, the maximum status of that, then increment it by 1. So for that reason, I'm going to use status is equal to $request status and get the max value of that, max value of order. Now let's go here and set the item order to status to last order plus 1. Now let's save everything. So item save, and let's return response JSON back the item. So it will be item is equal to $item. Now let's go to our browser and let's refresh. Okay, we forgot something in here. Yeah, so we forgot the brackets. And let's after this hide the modal as well. So let's copy this from here, paste it here, and instead of show, let's type hide. Okay, let's go back to our browser. Let's refresh. Okay, it's coming. Let's open the console and let's clear this. Let's add an item. So let's add an item test1. Click save. Yeah, as you guys can see, it has been saved and it's returning the item back with its data. So this part is done. Now let's display our tasks in the board. So let's open the VS Code and let's create a new function. So I will create a new function in the top with the name of append item. So let's type here, let's fix it, function append item, and it will accept item as a parameter. So we will send the item to this function. Then after that, in here I will create a new variable with the name of new item and set it to an string. And then inside here I will create a div with a class of card and give him a margin bottom of 2. Then inside this div, let's create a new div with a class of card body. Let's close the div. Then inside our card, okay, let's fix this at card dash body. Then inside our card body, I will create one more div with a class of row. Then this row would have 2 sections, one for the text and one for the buttons. So for the text, I will make it larger. So in that reason, I will create a new div with the class of made 8. And inside here, I will display my items. So for that, I will create a p tag and I will set that item in here. So item dot name. Then after that, let's create another div for our buttons so the user can edit and delete it. So let's create one more div with the class of made 4. Then inside here, let's create 2 buttons. So let's create our button. So button and class of btn is small. Then after that I will set the first button as a warning, so I could use it for edit, and this one would be danger for the delete. Let's give them a edit task class name, and this will delete task class name. Let's close them. This one also. So in the state of text, I think if we show an icon, it will be much better. So let's create an icon also. So I will say I class of bx comment edit, and this one also class of bx comment dash x. Okay, this is our function is done. Now let's append our new item to the item dot status. For example, if it's to do, it has to append it in the to do section. If it's in progress, it has to append it in here, and same goes for the done. But if it's done, it has to append it in here. So let's scroll down, and after our item in here, let's type item dot status dot append, and we will send the new item. Okay, this section is done. Now let's go and call our function. So let's copy this from here and paste it inside our success function of our save task. So let's call it here, and let's say append item response dot item. Now let's save everything. Let's go to our browser. Let's refresh. Let's add in progress. So let's add here in progress 1. Save. Okay, we got an error. Okay, sorry, we had dot append. Now let's go back. Let's refresh. Let's add one more time. In progress 2. Save. Okay, as you guys can see, it has been added. So right now we don't need, let's close this. Let's add one for done. So done 1. Okay, it has been added. Now we have to create our delete and edit part. So first of all, let's create our delete, it's update part, then after that delete. So let's go to our VS Code and create our update part. So for that, let's scroll up, and inside my append item, in my P, in here I will create 2 new attributes, one ID and another one would be the item ID. So let's create an ID for this. So I will say ID is equal to task name, and another attribute would be the item ID. This will equal to item dot ID. Now let's go and create a event listener for our edit task. So let's copy this from here, and let's scroll down. After our save task, in here we will create a new event listener. Now we will type document document dot on click of our dot edit task. Then we will create a callback function. Now in here we have two options. One, create a separate modal for our edit and separate save method function for our edit, or use our modal that we have currently in here for both save and edit. So what I'm going to do is to use this same modal I do for both of them for add and save. So let's scroll down. For that, before my current section variable in here, I will create a new variable with the name of add or update, and by default empty, and one more variable to store the selected task. So let's type var is equal to selected task, and this will also be by default null. Let's make this also null. Now let's scroll back to our event listener. In here, let's set the add or update to update and our selected task to this dot parent dot find task name. Then after that, let's change the text modal title. So let's say task modal label dot text is equal to edit task. Then after that, let's change the task name. So task dash name dot val is equal to selected task dot text. And let's display our modal. So let's say task modal dot modal show. Now let's go to browser and let's refresh in here. Now let's add a new task with the name of AAA, and now let's click the update. So we got AAA. Now let's go and create our AJAX route and our controller for the update. So let's come to VS Code. Now let's scroll down. First thing first, in our show task modal in here, let's type add or update is equal to add. Now inside our save task event listener in here after the first condition, we will create another condition and type if add or update is equal to add, then use this AJAX. So let's cut it from here and paste it inside our if, otherwise else. Now let's copy this from here and paste it here and change the store to update. So this part is for our update. Then instead of status, we will send the ID, and we can get the ID from selected task.attr and item name. Item ID. Then we don't need to append it again. Instead of append, we will type selected task.text is equal to task name. Now let's go to our web.php, and in here let's create our route. So after the store, I will type route : post, and the route would be update. Then I will create an update method inside my controller as well. So let's copy this from here and let's go to inside our controller. After the store method in here, let's create a new method with the name of update, and this will accept request and $sign request. Then inside this, I will create a variable with the name of task. Then in here I will say Kanban : find or fail $sign request ID. Then I will say task name is equal to request name and after that just update the task and return response also to the users that it has been updated or for the variable itself. So let's send the variable itself. So I will type task $task. So let's go to our browser and let's refresh here. Let's click plus button and add a new task with the name of AAA and click save. Okay, it has been added. Now let's click update. Let's change it to 1 to 3. Now click save again. Okay, it has been changed. Now it's time to create the delete part. So let's go back to our VS Code and inside our index.blade.php in here, let's scroll down until the end, and at the end we will create a new event listener. So let's type document dot on click of the delete. So let's copy the delete task from here, the class name, and let's scroll back, but create a callback function. Then inside our callback function I will confirm it for the user. So I will type if confirm, are you sure you want to delete this task? Then if true, then I will say let item is equal to this, and I will create an AJAX. So let's copy AJAX from here, AJAX, then paste it here and change the update to delete. Then after that we don't need that name, so let's say delete it and change the ID. Let's delete it to item.parent.find task name .attr item ID. And in the success method we don't need the console log, we don't need this one, just we will type item.parent remove to delete the main div of that task. Now let's go and create our route for the delete and controller for this part. So let's go to our web.php and in here let's create a new route with the type of post, and let's say this one also delete, and let's make a method with the name of destroy. So let's copy this from here and let's go to inside our controller, and after this I will create a new function with the name of destroy, and this will also accept a request $request. Then in here I will say Kanban ::find, or let's say where ID is equal to $request ID and delete this, the record delete, and let's return a response as well. So let's return response in JSON, and let's say in here message task deleted successfully. Now let's go back to our browser, let's refresh this and let's add a new task with the name of ttt save. It has been added. Now let's click delete. We got our confirmation message and let's click OK. Yeah, it has been deleted. Now as you guys notice in here, every time when I refresh, all my tasks will be gone, and I have to create a new task. So let's display all our tasks in here when the users refresh the page or when the page loads. So let's go to inside our Kanban controller. In here in the top, I will create a new method with the name of get items. So public function get items. Then inside here, I will create a variable with the name of items and set it to our Kanban. And then after that, I will say order by, order and get. Now let's return our items. Let's paste it here. Let's go and create a route for this. So let's create a route in the top also, and the type of this will be get. So I will say get all and link it with my get items. Now let's go inside our index.blade.php, and in here in the top of scripts, and after my variables, in here I will create a function so it should run when the page loads. Then inside this I will call an AJAX. So I will say $.AJAX, and inside my AJAX the type will be get. Then the URL, and my URL would be URL Kanban board / get all. Then after that the success function, in that I will create a callback function with the data as a parameter. Then inside here, first of all, let's say type console.log to if anything happens we should know. So we will say console.log data. Let's fix our function also. Let's type it correctly. Function console.log. Okay. Now after that, let's map through our data. So I will say data.map, and let's create an arrow function. Then for each of my data I will call my append item. So let's copy this from here and paste it in here, and instead of item let's send the X. Now let's go to our browser. Now let's refresh. Okay, as you guys can see, I got all my tasks in here, but now I want to make it drag and drop and order them, but right now I cannot. So let's see how we can order our task and move it from one board to another board. So let's see how we can build that. For that, first of all, let's go to Google. In here, let's search Google for jQuery UI latest version CDN. So let's go to our cdn.js in here, and let's copy this one. Let's copy the script tag. Let's click here and let's go to our index.blade.php, paste it before our script. So paste, save. Now let's scroll up for each of our card. So let's go here. For each of them we will add a class names. So in here, in here in the card body where we wrote the ID, in here we will just add a class name, and I will say it should be connected sort table. Let's copy this from this one and scroll down. For our in progress we have to add it also in our card body. So let's add it in here, and let's scroll down until we find the done, and let's add it also in here. Now let's scroll down until our append item. In here we will add a class name also. So in here also I will type Kanban-item. Now let's scroll down, and after my append item, in here let's create our event listener. So let's type $.connected sort table dot sortable, and inside here let's type connect with, and let's copy our class name here. Then after that I will type items and dot Kanban item. Then after that placeholder would be UI-state-highlight. Then let's attach one more method in here with the name of disable selection. Now if we go to our browser and refresh our page, I can drag and drop my items anywhere I want, and I can sort it also. Now the problem is that if I refresh, they all take their original places back. Without these drags and drops will not have any effects. So let's build our function to update them in our database. So next time that the user refresh, it should stay like this. So let's go back to our VS Code. Now before our sortable function, in here I will create a new function. So let's type function and give it a name of reorder Kanban order. Then inside this, I will create a new array with the name of task, and by default it would be empty. So let's see what we are going to do. If in this function we are going to loop through each of these cards. So first I will going to loop through my to do, then in progress, and then after that and done, and get each of the tasks with their order. So this one would be 1 to do, to task 2 to do, and same for this task, this, and put all of them inside a single array. Then pass that array to our controller and update each task in there. So let's do this. So after creating my array in here, then I will loop through all my cards. So in here I will type dot connected sortable dot each function. Then in here I will create a variable with the name of section ID to get the IDs and set it to this dot attr ID. Then after that I will say this dot children dot Kanban item dot each, again a callback function. Tasks dot push, and ID would be this dot find hash task name dot attr item ID. Then name would be again this dot find hash task name dot text. Status would be section ID, and for order we will set the index. Now after our loops are finished, then let's create an AJAX in here. So let's say $post and set the URL to URL and Kanban board/reorder. Then for the second parameter in here, let's send our data. So first of all, let's copy the token. Same thing for we did in this. Let's copy it from here and paste it in here for token. Then let's pass the task to tasks. And after this is done, now let's create our success function. So I will type function response and for just to be sure, I will type console.log response. Now let's go to our web.php and create reorder function. But before that, I noticed one thing here, that I forgot the index to add inside my function parameter. So let's add it. Okay, it's done. Now let's go in here and let's create a new route with the type of post and set it to reorder, and we will create a reorder function inside our controller as well. So let's copy this. Let's go inside our Kanban controller, and in here let's create a new method. Before I might destroy, I will type public function reorder, and it will also accept $request as a parameter. Then in here I will create a variable with the name of task and set it to $request task. Then after that I will create a loop to access everything inside this task. So okay, let's change it to task. For each task as $task. Let's say $t is equal to Kanban ::find $task ID. Then $t change the order to $task order, and again $t is equal status is equal to $task status. Then $t save. Now at the end, let's send a response also. So let's copy this and paste it in here, and instead of deleted we will type order updated, task order updated successfully. Now let's go to our browser, let's refresh, let's move this AA to done, this one to done also. Okay, now let's refresh again. Let's go. Okay, we forgot one thing in here, we have not called our function. So let's copy this from here, and in here let's type update : and call our function. So let's go now and let's refresh again and put these back in here. Let's change this up here, task testing 2 in the top. Now let's refresh again. Okay, as you guys can see, it keep its order. We can move this one to here, and almost anything inside from in progress to done. We can delete any item we want. We can update it to this, save, and let's refresh again. All our changes are affected. So this is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it and like it. If you have any questions, write it down in the comment section. And don't forget to press the subscribe and like button.